Welcome to Sex and Happiness with Laurie Handlers. Amazing sex and intimacy are just around the corner. While Laurie puts the finishing touches on her new book, Sex and Happiness Over 60, please enjoy this show. It's one of her favorites from the Sex and Happiness archives.
Today we're going to be talking about ejaculation choice. And my guest today is Buddhi Dana. And Buddhi is a facilitator for ISTA, International School of Temple Arts. So we work together, and we have a great time together. We have a lot of love for each other. He's not an unknown guest to me. And aside from that, he also does workshops on sacred sexuality around the globe. He has worked in some very interesting places. In Russia, he's worked, and in Turkey, he's worked, and so maybe we'll hear a little bit about that, because those are places I want to go, but I haven't been yet. He and I have been trying to get an ISTA into Russia for a long time. So anyway, he is I forgot to say also, he's one of the facilitators for our practitioner training, which is people who want to do sacred sexuality sessions with individuals. And he lives in Tel Aviv, Israel. So Buddhi, welcome to Sex and Happiness.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And today I was something that is straight connected to sex and happiness. It's amazing that we choose this topic.
Yeah, totally. Well, you know, my show used to be called Tantra Cafe, and then I outgrew it, and I had to rename the whole thing Sex and Happiness, because sex and happiness is a bigger subject than Tantra in and of itself. So I renamed it, and I've been rolling with it ever since, for a long time, over 10 years. So let's go ahead.
When we'll get to the main thing today, so we'll see how we with sex we increase our happiness, really in chemicals in our brain that create happiness. So this is very beautiful, and we'll get there soon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first, let's talk about, how did you find yourself as a sacred sexuality teacher? What were you on course to be when you were growing up, and how did that change?
When I grew up, since I was very young, I know that I'm going to be a spiritual teacher, that I work with spirituality, that I work with people, that I will guide them in the way. I know it since I was like 4.5. I saw it, and I saw my journey. And I prepare myself during all the years. I walk and prepare myself, learn a lot, and self-initiate myself for many years. When I was about 17, I met first time Tantra through Osho. And I fell in love with Tantra, and I flew straight after the army. Like when I was 20, I go to Pune. I spent there around 5 years. I go there as a child, like 20 years old, and I come back with a wife and a child 5 years after. I learned a lot in Pune, and I continue to learn a lot in Israel and all over the world, and prepare myself, and get a lot of knowledge, exercise, experience in the tantric world. I gather a lot of information, and when I was about 34, I got cancer. I had a cancer which paralyzed my voice. I could not talk for about 8 years. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I had a cancer.
Yeah.
And I could not talk for a long time. And the doctor say, sorry, your nerves, the vocal nerves is done, and you will not talk forever. You can do an operation if you want, but it will never be the same. And I believed them, and I booked an operation. And 4 days before the operation, my voice came back by himself. And I was happy to cancel this operation. And in the day that my voice come back, I start to record meditation, and I know this is the time for me to spread everything, to start to talk, to bring everything that I gather for many years, and to start to spread it and teach. So this was my time to start teaching.
Well, that's amazing. That's an amazing story. Like I didn't know all that. I don't know why I didn't know all that you went to Pune and you were there for 5 years. I just didn't know that. But I think I knew about the cancer story, but as you're saying it to me right now, it's shocking. It's like an amazing that your voice just spontaneously came back.
Yeah.
Amazing. Really amazing. So you started making meditation like CDs and stuff?
Yes, to record, to spread, just to teach the message of the cancer, which was very beautiful for me. The cancer itself, the period of the cancer was very beautiful. Because I practiced Tantra for many years, I knew that I'm surrendering immediately and I'm not going to fight him and I'm not going to resist, because everything that will resist will get hit.
Right.
So I lower my ego, I lower myself, and I invite him in. I told him, welcome, you are a gift for me. And I really bowed down to the cancer, and it just passed and gave me a lot of gift without hurting me at all. Really, it passed and live after him a very clean way for me to grow.
That in itself, we could do the whole show on that.
Yeah,
on surrendering to whatever happens, even if it's cancer. Did you take medications and stuff like that, or you just didn't?
So I did chemo. I totally did chemo. I surrendered to everything. I did chemo. I get licensed for marijuana, which is also helping. I did a lot of spiritual work, and everything together. Like I saw it, they are combining each other. They are completing each other.
Yes,
the meditation, the spirituality, everything complete, and it really passed easily. In the end, I look back and I say, it was like a long flu, something like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that in today's day of coronavirus, possibly surrendering rather than fighting, just surrendering and just taking care of yourself during this outbreak, if you or I were to contract it. The idea is to build ourselves now, to build our immune system now before we're affected by anything like this. So it's interesting. It's interesting what you say. So you knew. So your parents weren't surprised or anything by this. This is what your vocation is?
No, I talked about it since I was a child. Yeah.
Very, very great. And you didn't become a rabbi, though.
No, I hate, no. No. I knew that it's not my way. I knew that I'm going to be a force that will challenge that.
Got it. I completely get it. Completely. Yeah. So, okay. So you started doing these tapings and you started spreading the word, and then you focused in on Tantra. Yeah.
I focused in Tantra, and this is the time that I met Ista. Right after my cancer, Ista came for the first time to Israel through Ohad, my friend and teacher, Ohad Ezrahi. So I bring it first to Israel. I went to the course, and when I finished this course, because I did many courses, especially in Pune, I did many courses in my life. I know that after the course, there is 1 or 2 months that everyone is together and it's feeling very good and everyone leaving the course, but then it's dropping down. And when I did Ista for the first time, I say to myself, this is not going to vanish. I'm going to put it and to anchor it here in the land. So I opened the community right after my Ista. I did level 1, level 2 together. And right after Ista, I just initiate the community in Israel, which today it's about between 700 to 1,000. I didn't check lately, but we are growing all the time. So we are about 700 to 1,000 people that already did Ista and have a beautiful community life and creating a lot and changing the map in Israel. When there was a crisis in Israel about sexuality and few kids get raped in the same week. So all the community created a lot of lecture. We did 200 lecture in one day, spreading the word in Israel, teaching about consent, teaching about boundaries, teaching a lot of things that people don't have idea, don't have the clue that we teach in Ista, and for us it's like a common knowledge. Yeah. We're just spreading the word. We're doing a lot of festivals, we're doing a lot of workshops, and we're raising the frequency in Israel. This group of 1,000 people affect a lot of other people in a lot of other circles now in Israel.
So, Buddhi, what is it? I mean, of course, I know what it is, but what is it? Like, let's let people know. What does it mean to choose ejaculation or not ejaculation, and why would somebody even consider that?
Yeah. So let's start with the general knowledge about today medicine or today science. We say that most of the men in the world, like generally, I'm not specific talking about you or you or you, but generally, men is ejaculating in intercourse between 3 to 5 minutes from the beginning of the intercourse. Now, when we do that, we losing something very precious with the feminine sexuality. We know that women need much longer time to warm up, to go to a deeper orgasm. And if we are coming as men and we ejaculate very quick, like between 3 to 5 minutes, and maybe you specific holding for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, but still, we want to teach you to ejaculate when both of you want and know just when it's happening. So we want to give you a choice in the right time when both of you are ready, then you can ejaculate. So the word or the term ejaculation choice is really appropriate here because we want to give you a free choice and not to do it according to the instinct of your body. More awareness into the process.
All right, so more awareness into the process, and you're making a case for women wanting men to last longer. That's great. I applaud that. But what is the process? What takes place? How can men stop themselves? What I look at it like, if men ejaculate within 5 minutes, then if they look back on their life as they get older and they think of how much time they've spent in orgasm, how much time they've spent in pleasure, it's very small. So this is like a pleasure expansion that you're talking about.
Exactly. I'm not going there yet. I want to say a few more things about it before we go into the how. Especially, okay. I want to say that I want to put our attention on what happened in our brain when we ejaculate.
Okay.
So there are 3 main factors, 3 main players there. There is dopamine, oxytocin, and prolactin. There are 3 hormones that play this game in our brain. And before the ejaculation, in the foreplay, oxytocin and dopamine are rising very high. And both of these hormones are the hormones that make us feel happy and make us feel good, make us feel in love, make us feel that we want connection, we want touch, we want to be with hugs, we want to be in body connection. And it's very important. And for both of us, men and women, they are both rising up before the ejaculation itself. Now, in the moment of the ejaculation, a new hormone coming to the picture, which is called prolactin. And when he releases in the brain, he releases in between 300 to 400 times more the dopamine and oxytocin. And he's like washing the brain and catching the space in the brain, in the synapses, catching the space, and don't let the dopamine and oxytocin to catch in the brain. Now, when oxytocin is falling down, when he is low in the brain, we want to separate. We don't want the connection anymore. We want to separate. We want to move. We want space from our woman, which cause almost immediately to feeling in the woman of abandonment. Because 2 minutes ago, you just want to hug me, fuck me, love me, touch me, and now you don't touch me. Like, this is big wound for feminine, especially if we look at it at many years in a long relationship, again and again, every night, you warm me up, you touching me, you loving me, you kissing me, you ejaculate, and hop, disappear. And how about me? Again and again, for many years like that. And then for the feminine, sex become something like a burden, something that need to do, but it's not satisfied like usually. Yeah, and I'm talking mostly about married people, married couple, and not about I find someone today in the club and I fuck her. No, I'm talking about a long-term relationship. It's happening there.
You're talking about people who are enduring couples who have maybe a monogamous relationship, who are together forever, and over time, what happens, how the part of the relationship gets worn away by this, by prolactin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got it.
Yes. Good. So one of the things is because we don't want to create this abandonment in the woman. Another thing is when we ejaculate, usually we lose our erection. It depends on your age. Sometimes it will be for a few hours, depending on your age. Sometimes it can take a few days until your erection will come back.
Yes.
And in this time, you usually will be less attracted to your woman and give her less energy. And in long-term relationship, we really want to maintain that. Maintain good erection, good attraction, be horny on each other. This is the fuel of the relationship, one of them at least.
Yeah.
So let's go into practice. What to do, how to do.
Okay, so wait a second, because I want to know, when you speak to men about this, like I'm just asking you this because I have spoken to men about this. And when I speak to men about this, sometimes they look at me like I have a third eye coming out of my head or extra ears or arms. When I'm talking to non-tantra men about this, they get sort of weird with me, like, so what? So like, do you get any kind of pushback from men?
What is pushback? Sorry?
Pushback. Do you get any flack? Do you catch any resistance? That's what I'm wanting to say.
Yes, people don't. Yes, of course. People ask me, why do I need it now? Why should I start to practice these things? I'm happy with what I have. And yes, you're happy with what you have, but you have something very small and limited. Usually when we ejaculate a lot, so the sex and the time of penetration are very, very short.
Yeah.
The time of pleasure is very short. You're losing your erection. You're losing your desire and the willing to be close. It's hurting your creativity. And if we ejaculate a lot, like I know there is many, especially young men, that can ejaculate 6-7 times a day, so you get frustration and you get sad and you get depression because your dopamine level are crashing down. And
right.
Dopamine make us feel good. And if your dopamine is on the floor, you will not feel good for days upon days.
And it also sometimes is also associated with porn addiction.
Yes, exactly.
Which makes you crazy anyway, and then it makes your life topsy-turvy. So we don't have to go into that. I've covered that in other shows, but I just wanted to bring it in. When young men are ejaculating 7 times a day, that has to do with porn addiction.
Exactly.
Often. All right, so how do they do it? What should they do?
First of all, we need to understand that orgasm and ejaculation are 2 separate mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in your mind. Maybe you don't believe me, because usually the orgasm and the ejaculation coming together. Most of us know that these 2 mechanisms happening in the same time. This is what we know, this is what we see in our body. But actually there are 2. I'll give you an example. Sometimes, men that listen to us, sometimes maybe you experience that you saw the semen go out, but you didn't have orgasm. Like a little bit of semen, or more than a little bit, go out of your lingam, of your penis, and you didn't experience the orgasm. And you can bring yourself again to orgasm in a few seconds after. This is because, again, this is 2 different mechanisms. When they happen in the same time, we connect them and think that this is one. So as we can take out or ejaculate without orgasm, we can orgasm without ejaculating. So let's talk about how we do that.
Yeah, that's a great thing to share with people, that you can orgasm without ejaculating. How do they do that?
Exactly. So I want to present for you a model about how to preserve and cultivate your energy. So the model starts with feeling. You need to feel, let's imagine a scale from 0 to 100. 100 is the ejaculation. 90 is the point of no return, which means if you go there, ejaculation will happen, you want it or you don't want it. And from 0 to 80, I want you to feel where you are. I want you to practice. You can masturbate, self-pleasure. You can touch yourself and learn your arousal scale. See that you start with 0 and slowly you come to 20%, 30%, 40%, 60%, 70%. When you get to 80%, it doesn't matter if you masturbate, self-pleasure, or you're doing with your woman. So when you get to 80%, I want you to stop. So the first thing in this model is feeling, to know where I am in my personal scale. The second is stopping. When I'm getting to my 80%, I'm stopping. I'm not continuing, not to self-pleasure, not to masturbate, not to move inside of her. I'm just stopping. Now, most of the people know that, these two. The problem with these two is if you stop here, most of the men will get blue balls. So the next thing in the model is moving the energy. If you will not move the energy, you cannot continue this for a long time.
Right.
You have to move the energy in your body, and soon we'll talk about exercise, how to move. But now I'm just explaining the model. So the first thing in the model was sensing or feeling. The second one was stopping. The third one, moving the energy. And then what we're getting, we get transformation. When we're moving the energy, this sexual energy, which is, it's a life force energy, it's creative energy. This is the energy that creates life. So when we move it in our body, transformations start to happen. We are cultivating this energy, and we cultivate it ourselves as men, and we're going up spiritually, mentally, emotionally. We just grow up with this energy. Like we're feeding ourselves with very, very good and healthy energy, which usually we just throw it. But every time that we ejaculate, we just throw it out to the garbage, to the toilet paper, to the socks, whatever. So instead of it, we're keeping this very precious energy and transform ourselves and cultivate ourselves as men.
Okay, I got it. I used to, by the way, I just want to say in class, men used to tell me that in order to not ejaculate so fast, they used to think about the Super Bowl or the World Series. They used to think about athletic games. And I wouldn't even want to be with a man who's thinking about something else.
Exactly. We want you here and now. So the question is how you stay focused here and now, but still not putting your mind, because one of the factors is what is running in our mind. Like if a fantasy running in my mind, I will ejaculate much quicker than if my mind will be relaxed or not thinking about it. So Super Bowl is exactly the opposite. Yes, I'm thinking about something really, really not arousing, but then I'm not present.
Right.
I'm not in the moment. So how can we be present and still not ejaculate quick? So let's talk about it. This is very important. And now we're getting to the exercise, what to do.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay.
Let them know what to do. I just want to tell you that about 60% of my listeners are women. So they're going to have to share this with men in their life.
Please bring the men to listen to the show. It's so important for them.
That's right.
If you need it, you can contact me straight, but please let them listen to this show. Men, it's so important for you. Please. So, and also women, it will give you much, much, much more satisfaction in your sex if your men will learn it.
That's true. I can attest to that. So, so how do they do it? I want to see how you have them do it.
So, by the way, women, it's part of your job also. You need to know what I'm teaching now, and you need to help him because I forgot the word, but it's together. He cannot do it by himself. If you will try to push him over the edge and make him ejaculate, he will ejaculate. We need you on board with us.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely true. Good. All right. So we did some enrollment for the women, especially women who don't know about this. It's really important, and you'll have so much more satisfaction and pleasure if the man that you're with learns this.
Yes. Cool. So let's start. The first basic things that I want to teach men is to breathe. Breathing, when we get to around 70 to 80% in our scale that we talked before, there, I want you to start to breathe in a specific way that I will teach you now. Now, breath help you to stay focused here and now. You're still here with your woman, but you also keep track on your breath. Now, this is a very simple pranayama coming from the yoga, not something fancy, but it's helping very much. And this will be the first thing that we learn today. Let's see how much exercise we can get. So the first thing, it's called breath 5575. I'll explain it, but just remember the numbers, 5575. Okay? So it goes like that. You inhale for 5. You inhale or from your mouth or from your nose, whatever is comfortable for you. I prefer mouth, but if you're comfortable from the nose, breathe from your nose. So inhale for 5, and then stop for 5. If you need to count, if you can hear your heartbeat, you can count 5 heartbeats. If you don't, just count in your head or in your fingers. So inhale 5, stop for 5, exhale for 7, pause for 5, hold for 5, and then inhale 5. And do it again and again and again. Do it for a few minutes. What will happen when we're walking like that with conscious breath? We controlling our diaphragm, and she's moving the energy up from our lingam, from our penis, from our balls, up to our body. With the breath, the energy will start to move. Now, it doesn't matter if you believe in energy, if you don't believe, if you feel energy, you don't feel energy, it's working. So just breathe. This kind of breath, like I told you, 5575, breathe like that and feel how everything is relaxed, and you can continue much more long when you're doing that. She can ride on you, she can be very, very hot and jumping, and you keeping your breath. Look into her eyes, be with her, you're fully here and now, and you are with your breath also. So this is the first thing to do.
That's pretty awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I teach it a little different way, so I'm learning from you. I'm learning some.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to do that.
Right.
This is the Bible from Sinai or from God. This is one way to do it, and there is many, many ways to do that.
All right, good. So that's part 1. 5575. Yeah.
5575, 5575, like that.
Okay.
Repeat. If you can do that now when you listen to our program, so do a pause, do 3 circles like this. 3 circles of 5575 again, 5575, 5575. Only 3 circles. Just feel what happening to your breath, to your breath, your energy, and then come back to us, and we'll continue to teach you more practices. So the next thing we're going to learn is squeezing the PC muscle, the pelvic muscle, squeezing, while inhaling when we're doing that. So I'm teaching that in 2 ways. One, it's before and after sex, like going to the gym. Like you need to practice this so you'll have more control in your muscle. This is one. Second is during sex. While you are inside of her, you're doing the same things. But usually you need to practice a little bit before so you'll have the knowledge and the feeling of that kind of muscle. So let's talk before and after sex. After we'll talk about in sex. So before and after, I want to give you 50 squeeze in the morning, 50 squeeze in the evening. It is not taking more than 2.5, 3 minutes.
Right.
The 50 squeeze going like that. We're doing 10 short squeeze, 10 longer. Soon I'll show you and I'll guide you how short and long, but 10 short, 10 medium, 10 long, and 20 short. So it's 10, 10, 10, 20. So imagine, because you don't see me, imagine that I'm squeezing my hand. Squeezing my hand is like squeezing my balls, like pulling my balls inside to my body, like I want to stop peeing. Okay? So I'm pulling my balls in, I'm closing my PC muscle, and in the same time I'm inhaling. Inhale. I'm holding it for a second, like relax, relax, relax. Like this 10 times. This will be the 10 short. And then I'm doing 10 longer. I'm holding it for about 5 seconds. And relax. Again, inhale. And relax. Again, inhale. And relax. 10 times like that. Now we're moving to the long one. Long one, we're holding the breath and the squeeze for about 10 to 20 seconds. See how much you can. If you're just beginning with that, 10 seconds is a lot. If you are advanced, 20 seconds, you can even go more than that. So it will be inhale, holding. It's a long inhale, holding, and release. And again, inhale for 10 seconds, and hold, and release. 10 times like that. And in the end, we're coming back to 20 short. Totally, we just did 50. It didn't take us more than 2.5, 3 minutes. So I want 50 in the morning, 50 in the evening, and think about it like a gym. You can do it when you're driving. You can do it when you're sitting and walking. You can do it in the bus. You can do it in your car. I do it on my bike. You just do it. Just do it and work with this muscle. Learn to control them, learn to squeeze them. And when you're doing that, you will start to notice slowly in more gentle muscle inside of them. And then you can squeeze only your perineum or only your anus or only your balls. You will learn how to move this muscle inside. So it's very important.
It's great, Buddhi. Really great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is when this is before and after sex. Now let's go into sex. Okay?
Okay.
I'm inside of her. I'm inside my beloved body. And I'm coming closer to my 70 or 80%. And remember, 80% is your border. It's your line. You are not crossing that. If you go above 80, you will get to the point of no return and hop, done, finish. You will ejaculate. So I'm coming closer to my 80, which means 70, 75. I'm feeling that. I'm already breathing this 5575, 5575. Now I'm doing this squeezing, like I told you, but you need to do only 10 squeezing. 10 short squeeze while you are inhaling. Now I want you to understand or imagine for a second, when you are squeezing your muscles, between the muscles and in the pelvic, there is the semen tube. When you're squeezing, you're like locking them with your muscle. And when you are inhale, you're pulling energy back. You're pulling also the semen itself back, like something is locking him and you're pulling it back.
So you're pulling it back into yourself.
Inside, exactly.
Yeah, you're not putting it into her, you're pulling it back into yourself. Yeah.
Yes. So when we're doing that, the willing of the body, the body instinct to throw the energy out is stopping slowly. Now, I find out that when we're doing that, about 5 times, the body say, okay, I got you. We're not going to ejaculate now. And the body is relaxed. And then you can continue. So what you need to do is you need to pass 5 waves of the body want to ejaculate and you pulling the energy back. After 4 to 5 times like this, your body will give you now half hour, 1 hour of no ejaculation, that you don't need to think about it even. So remember 5 waves like that you're breathing, that you're squeezing, and you're inhaling. So I'm inviting you really to go and try this today, tonight, tomorrow. Go to try this and see how it is. If you have question, if you need more guidance on that, so please communicate with us, with Laurie and me, and we will guide you more for yourself. But the idea is 10 breath, 10 squeeze with breath, and you're pulling the energy back. You're changing the way of the energy. The energy usually want to go out, and you're changing the direction. It's like changing a direction of a river. It's not an easy task, but it's possible.
It's great stuff, Buddhi. Let me ask you a couple questions, all right?
Yeah.
So one, this is just my personal question. It's not, I have like some more universal questions, but my personal question is, do you also have people take a sniff? Do you do any, like I always teach it with a sniff, like after they do they get to one wave, and when they're doing the inhaling, I have them go like a quick sniff to fool the diaphragm into really relaxing.
Yes, it's beautiful. I'm using it in other exercise. We have many exercises for this.
Yes.
I'm teaching you one of my basics. I know other people have different basics, so I'm teaching you a few of my basics. But yes, I'm teaching sniff also with more advanced more
Okay.
advanced practices. Yes, of course.
Okay. Now, for more universal question, so in the years that I've been teaching Tantra, and in the years that you've been teaching Tantra, like I first thought, how do I want to say this? I first thought it was really men should not ejaculate. I first thought like men should not ejaculate as much as they do. And I know in some tantric circles, like it was thought that men shouldn't ejaculate at all. Now, with the studies that I've read having to do with prostate cancer and penile cancer, I've seen studies where it said that men, if they ejaculate more, they have less incidence of cancer in the penis. And I don't know how you feel about that. I feel like men should ejaculate some of the time, just not as fast as, you know, as biology would want them to, like thinking that there's a saber-toothed tiger threatening you. You have to like copulate very quickly and get that semen into the woman and try to get another one of the species. Like we don't have to do that. So I wonder about ejaculation at all. I think men should ejaculate, but not to the extent, you know, what you said 7 times a day when they're super young or whatever.
Yes. So I think moderation is the word, or balance is the word. So according also to your age, as young as you are, you can ejaculate more, you have more power, but as you go older, I know on myself that if I ejaculate every day, it doesn't matter if it's from self-pleasure or from making love with my woman, if I ejaculate every day, my level of energy is going down. And I need my energy to create things. I need my energy to love my woman. I need energy to be very creative. So I know about this research about cancer.
Yeah.
I know that they are really new, like it's from the last really couple of months or year about, something like that.
Yeah, something about the last year.
Yep. So for me, I'm still practicing that. And as one that already passed cancer, so cancer is not a threatening word for me.
Right, it's not scary to you.
Yeah. And I really need my energy. So I'm choosing when I do and when I don't, when I ejaculate and when I not. The idea is give you a choice. Don't go with your habit because you don't know something else. Have a choice. Yeah. And also the consequences when you ejaculate. So at least for a few hours or a day, your erection or your passion will be less for your woman. Know the cost of that.
Yeah, it's so great to talk about the cost and the consequence of that. It's really, you know, it's not a conversation that we were having when we were growing up. Nobody told us this. Sex isn't even spoken about, and men don't talk about it with each other. So this is a beautiful conversation that you are having with men and you are having with women. It's very, very important. All right, anything? Go ahead.
I want to share with men now, what is the gift that they will receive when they are doing these practices? So first of all, you start to regain self-control, because usually ejaculation is something that we are not controlling that, and it's managing us, especially if you have addiction to that. So when you start to practice choice or ejaculate a choice, so you start to gain self-control. You start to gain more self-esteem. Your self-esteem is going up.
And presence.
And presence. Of course, because it's a meditation and pranayama and breathing. Of course, this is a lot of presence into the moment. You start to attract and to magnet more people, more experience, more women to you when you're not ejaculate, because this force is inside of you and it's really magnet. Your physical strength is growing. Your mental strength is growing. This is so connected, like ejaculation. I will say something extreme, but a lot of ejaculation make you stupid. And yes, I know. And I want to quote 2 people that I really like. One is David Dana, that say, orgasm feel good, feel amazing for a few seconds, but the price that you pay for the sneezing of your genitals during ejaculation. This is the price of mediocrity in your life.
Very good. Very, very good. What else? What's the other quote?
Napoleon Hill from Think and Get Rich say, when you harness the sexual energy and you transform it to an action, she can bring that man to be a genius.
Yes.
And exactly the opposite, when you lose your sexual energy, when you throw it all the time, so you become stupid. Sorry. But yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Buddhi. There's another personal thing I'm throwing in here. When I give men this assignment, I usually ask them to not ejaculate for 21 days.
Exactly. 21 days.
Yeah, because that's in NLP, that's what they say it takes to make a new habit. So if you're breaking an old habit, to start the new habit, I usually assign this to men for 21 days. And, they look at me like cross-eyed, like, you kidding me? And I go, no, this is what to do. And
yes, sorry.
I always say to them, if you make it through 21 days, you're going to kiss my feet. So
I have a real science about that, real science. And I'm taking people like a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I take 120 people, men and women together, a Facebook group, and I took them to 21 days no ejaculation. And like with real science, which say that after 7 days, your serotonin in the brain start to change and your dopamine levels start to rise. After 10 days, you start to feel much more happy. After 14 days, your level of dopamine and oxytocin are very, very, very high. And from day 17, you rejuvenate or bring your brain to the period in time when you were 10, 11, 12, before you start to ejaculate and before all these hormonal things start to change in your brain, and you bring yourself to that point and you get some kind of innocent, like a child. You get your thought is clearer. Everything is much more pure, clear, vital when you get to day 17 until 21. And there is really, really science behind it. So 21 days is not only because habit, is because the chemical in the brain take time to get balanced. And it takes really 70 days for them to get again after you ejaculate, which means all of us men, which ejaculate since our puberty few times a week, all of us is in a deficit for decades.
Right.
Of decades we are in deficit of dopamine and oxytocin in our brain.
That's so good, Buddhi. Thank you so much for saying all that stuff and the science behind it. It's really, really fact. So good. What was something that you wanted to say to women about this, or something that's a corollary for women, something that's equal for women too?
Yeah. So my dear beloved women listeners, I'm happy to talk with you now directly. Clitoris orgasm is almost the same like ejaculation. Every orgasm that is squeezing the muscle, doing the same thing in the brain with the dopamine and oxytocin. So most of us know how to ejaculate or how to have clitoris orgasm. But there are 4 more nerves, or totally there are 4 nerves that we can ejaculate on them. One of them is the nerve that connects straight to the clitoris and going to the main crown, to the main head of the penis. But we have more nerves that we can have different other orgasm. Mm-hmm. The vagus nerve, for example, and there's 3 more that my English is not the best now to remember them in English. I know that in Hebrew, but we have 4 more nerves, and we can experience different and deeper orgasm than this one, what we know from the clitoris. So I want to invite you women also, take a challenge, you and your men, or if you do it alone, go for 21 days without clitoris orgasm, okay? And start to look for other area of arousal in your body, which is the G-spot, which is the A-spot, which is your cervix, which is your anus, which is something more energetically orgasm, your nipples, your ears, your all the body. You can find many ways to orgasm, which are not from the clitoris, which is squeezing, relaxing, and going to sleep. We want something that will energize us, that will left us after with a lot of energy instead of draining us out.
Right.
So the clitoris orgasm is equal to the ejaculation, or almost equal to the ejaculation.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting advice. I also, I recommend instead of squeezing, pushing. Like that was a whole new concept to me when I learned to push out instead of to squeeze in, you know, and also I will also add making sound.
Yes.
Like a lot of women who come to me say, you know, like I'm pre-orgasmic. I can't have an orgasm. And I say, well, you're probably not breathing. And if you're not breathing, no oxygen is getting to your nerves. No oxygen is getting to your brain. And so making sound is what helped me relax. And when I'm making sound, like I know I'm breathing because the exhale is the sound. So I just add that in there. It's great stuff, Buddhi. Thank you. I mean, we work in ISTA together, so we teach a different curriculum than this. Yeah. So it's really nice to hear you and your power speaking about some very basic tantric skills to people and having them, you know, be able to get it and understand you just from being on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so obviously you're doing coaching on Facebook.
I'm doing coaching on Facebook, on Zoom, on whatever media necessary. You can find me Buddhi Dana, Buddhi Dana, Dana, in Facebook. Contact me, send me a private message, and we can work together. And I can help you, coach you, put you on one of the groups or challenge of 21 days, support you with the knowledge, support you as a coach, and bring you to another level of your sexuality. People give me a lot of credit and thank you for the making their erection stronger, making their sex longer and happy, bring them to multi-orgasm. So please, there is so much gift in Tantra, so much gift in these practices. Come and take it. It's yours. It's free. You don't need anything from outside. Don't live your life without it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Buddhi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, honey.
For being my guest today. I miss you. I'm sorry I'm not
invisible.
But we will see each other again soon. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this show. Please tune in next time. We'll have another amazing guest. You found out how to contact Buddhi, BUDDHIDANA, on Facebook. Get connected, get plugged in, and get yourself into a higher state with your sexual energy. It's wonderful.